Have you been wondering how some of my New Year's resolutions are going? Let's get after it. Today, we're going to make bread. If you remember from my New Year's resolutions coffee chat that I posted at the beginning of the year, one of my New Year's resolutions was to no longer buy bread from the store. So this is my go-to sandwich bread recipe that I make, and this recipe itself makes 2 loaves. I divide it in half and it makes 2 loaves, and then I wrap 1 loaf normally and put it in the freezer, and then the other loaf we leave out and we eat on for that week. So in that measuring cup, I put my warm water, our 1 package of yeast, which is 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, and a teaspoon of sugar, and mix it together. And now I stirred that together with a toothpick because I don't like to get the yeast stuck to other things. Also notice while I'm dipping my flour out of the canister that I'm shaking my flouring cup. That's because, and I stirred my flour before I even started dipping it. That's because I don't want it to be packed into the flour cup, but I also don't always like to spoon it out of the container because I feel like I spill it everywhere. So that is my way, and it works out great for me every time. If it doesn't work for you, no big deal. Okay, the recipe calls for a tablespoon of softened butter, and it just wants it to be incorporated into the dry ingredients. When I put my tablespoon of butter in my dry ingredients, I take my spoon, as you can see, and I chop it. So I'll chop it into pieces and then stir it around to coat the butter, and then chop, 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 chop again, stir it around to coat the butter, chop, 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 stir it around to coat the butter until it's all mixed in and it's just small little pea-sized granules here and there in the bread mixture. So this is what your yeast mixture should look like when it's activated. If you'll look down on the top, see it's got like a layer of foam. Sometimes it will actively be bubbling, but a lot of times it'll just have a layer of foam. And then I'm going to make sure I scrape all of that out of there. I end up getting this really cool spatula that I got off of Temu one time forever ago that actually works really, really well for removing all of the bits, because you want to make sure you get all of that yeast into your bread. Now, using a wooden spoon, or you can use like a silicone spatula if you like that better. I know some people have a hard time using wood spoons because they don't like the feel of them in their hand. I get that. So you can use like a silicone spatula or something like that. I probably wouldn't use anything metal just in case. But you're just going to stir all of your ingredients together until it's all incorporated, and you'll see kind of there, it's like a sticky kind of ball. I'm just going to pour that out onto the counter. Now, this recipe calls for 4 cups of flour, 4.5 cups of flour. When I start this recipe in my actual bowl, I only put 4 cups of flour in my bowl, and then I reserve that other 1/2 cup, or sometimes it's a little more than a 1/2 cup, to use to be incorporated when I'm kneading it, because it has to be kneaded for a good few minutes. I think it's like 6 to 10 it actually takes, but you'll be able to see it come together. And the more you do it, the more you make bread, it kind of becomes a feeling. You just know when it's done. Will make you forget all your sorrows, let go. You'll also have people tell you, oh, you have to knead it like this, or you need to do this or that. I personally don't think that that is a thing. I think that as long as you are kneading it, folding it over itself, pressing and pulling, developing that gluten, it doesn't really matter how you do it. As you knead your dough, you'll realize when it starts to like stick to the counter or it makes like a fine, like almost like a paste on your counter. That's when you need to add a little bit more flour. Dust it lightly. Just do a little bit here and a little bit there, because if you get too much flour, your bread can be tough, which this recipe really is a very, very simple recipe. Okay, so you can see here like the dough, see how it's kind of like, you can kind of see it's a little bit lumpy and bumpy underneath the actual top surface, but it stretches really good. That means that it's almost there. You are almost there. When you are finished kneading your dough, it should be nice and smooth. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kayla. I'm a busy homeschooling mama of 2, Hannah who's 10 and Jana who's 5. I've been married to my husband Josh for 13 years. On my channel, you'll find cleaning tips and tricks, decoration inspiration, and motivation to get your house in the cozy shape that it deserves to be and that you deserve to have. A lot of people think that you need a bunch of fancy tools to make bread, and that's really just not the case. You need loaf pans, a bowl, measuring cups, and the only like fancy tool that I would say is a bench scraper. But most people have that or something that will work just exactly the same as that already in their kitchen. Okay, you can tell right here how I'm doing it. I'm just rubbing it back and forth across the countertop. You can tell how smooth it's starting to get. I'm going to hold it up and show it to you in just a second, and how it bounces back when you push it. Now, if you push it too hard, of course, it's going to stay indented, but it will bounce back.
Small bar with neon lights. Talked about everything that was
Step is super simple. You just add a little olive oil. You can use whatever oil that you want to use. We are trying to cut out a lot of seed oils in our house, so we use olive oil, but you can use olive oil, put it in your bowl, spread it around, and then you just cover your bowl with a towel, and you let it sit for 45 minutes or until doubled in size. Easy peasy. Don't forget to get your babies in that kitchen with you. Let me tell you, it's worth every bit of mess. Wash their little hands, give them a step stool, and let them knead the bread for you. Good job, Janie. Push it really hard. Like this, push it. Good job. So I ended up going ahead and making 2 batches of this bread. That's why there's another bowl there. But this is the bowl that we were working on together. Now all you have to do is dump it out on the counter, split it in half, and then press it out and fold it to make a loaf of bread. When it's risen, not only will it be double in size, but it will be soft and pillowy. You can see here when I'm cutting it that it looks like I'm cutting into a big marshmallow. I don't really knead it out the second time. I just kind of press it out into a rough rectangle shape, and then I fold the edges in and fold it in over itself to make the loaf of bread. And then I'm going to put it in the loaf pan with a little oil, just enough to like coat the pan so it doesn't stick, and cover it again and let it sit for another 45 minutes or until double in size. And then I will melt butter and pour over the top of it, and we'll put it in the oven to bake. Smooth the butter over the top of each bread loaf. Place it in the oven uncovered, and you cook until it's all nice and golden brown. It ends up being about 20 minutes. And that does it. That'll make you bread. Thanks for watching this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you make this bread and enjoy it hot or cold. Have a great day and God bless. Bye.